Run came out of necessity, really. We were working on a script called Evil Next Door, and we put probably about 2 years of work into it. And it's kind of one of these ideas that started out small. We had so many great ideas for it that it turned into this massive production that we kind of weren't ready for. There's no way we'd be able to produce it. So we decided to shelve it and work on something else.
The script was very basic. It was a girl running away from a demon. That was pretty much it. And just a few little scenarios. It was originally set kind of more suburban area, kind of sort of closer to a town. But as things came about, like location scouting, kind of seemed to make more sense to make it more rural and more isolated.
Originally we had no plans to enter into the world of crowdfunding, but we figured that if we were going to do it at all, it would be good to do it on a project like this.
Indiegogo was kind of Daniel's baby. He obviously ran it past us and what his ideas were, and I was all for it. I mean, there's a little bit of trepidation, like, are we ready to ask people for money? But people gave us money.
It was a big leap, but an amazing thing happened out of that, really, in the way that we met so many people through promoting the Indiegogo campaign and just not even having anything really apart from a few ideas and a script.
The good thing about knowing Daniel so long is we kind of have similar ideas.
As far as sort of influences go, when we were kind of rewriting the script, we talked about movies like It Follows.
Obviously, John Carpenter was a big influence.
We all wanted it to be similar to sort of 80s horror movies that we grew up with, but I really think the lighting scheme that me and Michelle sort of worked out was sort of based a bit more on the sort of 70s Italian giallo films.
Lighting, we did have a few nights of test shots. We had set colours in mind after the tests, and overall they came out really well. Looking back at the poster for advertising Run, we were very happy with the overall look of the film.
We hit pre-production quite hard come May time, I think, of 2016. Did a lot of location scouting.
Close to where we live, there's a lot of countryside, and when it came to looking for places to film, we sort of turned to each other and said, oh, the den would be a good idea.
We found some amazing little locations that we wanted to use, and we actually had to write them into the script.
And basically, as we walked around the place, there were just so many locations where we thought, yeah, we can make this work, yeah, we can make this work, and it all kind of just gelled together from there.
So when it came to casting, we were quite lucky, really, because again, with the Indiegogo campaign, that brought us a little bit of attention our way, and because of that, Mari actually contacted us.
I saw the project advertised on Indiegogo. I saw that the production team were putting out a new project called Run. They were looking for actors and actresses.
And we hadn't even really started casting at that point. It was something we were sort of gearing up to do.
And I put my name forward for it, sent a few audition tapes in, and yeah, I was accepted into the family.
We watched back the audition tapes, and she absolutely blew us away. She nailed it, and she looked the part as well, which was quite important.
Suzanne is someone very much like me, because she's similar age, similar sort of situation, but she's not similar in the way that she's come into contact with some creature that's completely come out of nowhere and disrupted her evening, in a good way, maybe. And yeah, she's just finding herself in a situation that she's never been in before. What attracted me to the role is that I saw this campaign put up. I saw this guy talking very passionately about what he was going to do with his production team. And I thought, yeah, I think I'd like to be on board with this. These guys seem to know that they've got a clear project in their mind. They've got clear shots set up. They've got clear characters. They know what they want doing.
Because of Mari coming on board, and because of her sort of skill set as far as an actress goes, we felt that there wasn't actually that much for her to do as far as the script goes. So we actually added in the flashback sequence.
The ideas for the flashback and all that were always there in my head, and I thought if we ever get a chance further down the road to revisit this story, it's something we could maybe add in there. But when you have a talent like Mari and Luke, you don't waste that. So I wanted to put that in. So it gave me a chance to kind of flesh out and build the character and gave it more dimension.
Which then in turn sort of gave us the role of Tom to actually cast as well. So it was a good problem to have, because obviously, we wanted to give Mari enough to do. We didn't want to waste her talents on just running and panting. We did spend a lot more time casting the role of Tom. We needed somebody who was going to be extremely professional around Mari and just understand the part, understand what was required of them, and that it was quite a complicated character with issues. We looked at a few people, and eventually we came across Luke. We sent him the script, and he sent some auditions back. And again, we were kind of mind blown, because he gave us a completely sort of different audition than we would have expected for a film like this. And it just shows the amount of range that Luke has.
The character of Tom is quite manipulative. On the surface, he seems very kind and nice, but he actually is quite a mean and aggressive person. So I was playing him as if he doesn't realise he's going through his day-to-day and he's happy, but his attitude just gets involved. But that attitude becomes more. He thinks it's an attitude where actually it's a problem. He's quite aggressive and manipulative. In playing a role, I love to get aggressive and push the boundaries that I never do in my real life. So yeah, I jump into the role. So it didn't come easily, but I make it happen.
When it came to casting the role of Suzanne's mother, it was a little bit tricky, because we were toying with the idea that Martine, who's Mari's real mum, could have actually played the role. Weren't sure whether to ask her or not, and I think eventually we kind of put it out there as a bit of a cheeky question.
We were discussing other roles that needed to fill in and were looking at being filled, and the more we had production meetings, I think it sort of become apparent that I may be able to fulfill that role. So reluctantly, but best decision ever.
She had a very small part, but because of the fact that she was so involved with it, as well as Mari, she showed so much support for us and what we were doing. And it was great to have. It was almost like having another member of the team, really.
I'm not actually sure when the decision was made. I just think it was always implied that I'd be the demon. I think it's because I'm the only one stupid enough to want to hang around in loads of makeup and a big heavy costume.
So obviously one thing that the script required is we needed someone to do makeup and do some decent sort of makeup effects work. We looked at a few people and weren't sort of majorly impressed with the amount of people around that could pull that kind of work off. Luckily we found Melanie, who is quite local, which is a good thing, but she's also really, really talented when it comes to makeup and just general makeup, beauty makeup, but also makeup effects stuff, and not even just like cuts and bruises, like proper, good hardcore stuff that we wanted. So she was really up for that. We contacted her. We arranged a meeting very, very quickly, and before we knew it, James was getting his face cast.
The makeup was so fun. It was kind of on my bucket list to have my face cast.
It all happened very, very quickly, but we were really glad that Melanie came on board, because she brought to it her talent and her abilities, and she's worked in the industry already, and it's really cool to have somebody like that come in and not only sort of apply her talents and her skills to the work we're doing, but also to sort of share her her knowledge of the industry as well.
So leading up to the first night of filming for the flashback sequence, we wanted the finer details of photos, to show that they were a couple, and we had little bits in scene, things on the table, but we wanted to go that extra mile and have those little bits. So we took them around around the area for some of the filming, and we got them to take some selfies as a couple to put on the phone ready for filming on the first night.
We shot a run over 4 nights. We shot the flashback sequence first, mainly because we had Luke for a very brief amount of time, and we had the location for a very brief amount of time. So that was shot very, very quickly. It was 6 pages of script, dialogue, action, and sort of makeup effects to do in the space of about 4 hours. So it was quite rushed. We had to cut a few corners to make a few adjustments to the script to actually get that shot. but luckily we managed to get everything we needed more or less.
So the second night of shooting, it was mainly me and Dan and Mari. James was getting most of his makeup and his face cast done.
The shooting experience, I think, was very different for me because majority of it was spent in makeup.
It's about a week or so later that a weekend that we filmed the rest of it 3 consecutive nights. So basically it was 3 nights of shooting from between sort of 10:30 and we weren't really wrapping until about 4 in the morning. So quite long, arduous nights of running around filming, things not going quite to plan. I think ultimately we ended up cutting about a third of the shots that I'd planned to shoot just because of time was running out. I think one of the biggest problems we had initially was that the den that we'd planned to shoot with had either been destroyed or something, and we ended up having to rebuild that. We had to do that the weekend before we actually shot.
We used the drone for a few aerial shots that we needed. I think there was a few shots that wouldn't really come across being handheld. We needed to show that atmosphere of how isolated Mari was in a few of the scenes. And overall, I think we could get that with the drone and showing, the area that we were filming in.
We were kind of trying to be smart with time as well, because while we were sort of waiting for certain people to have makeup and things done like that, we'd go off and shoot certain sections of the film that we didn't need them for. I remember very specifically at the house when we were shooting the flashback sequences that we actually shot the poster for Run as well.
The long nights were bad for everybody, but then sort of when it was finished, it would then take me a couple of hours to get the makeup off and kind of peel it off and wash it off. So it was tough. It was very tough, but very rewarding.
I think sort of one of the few shots I'm extremely proud of is the shot towards the beginning where Mari comes out from the side, runs into the road, and we did that by just hanging the camera out of the back of a car. I was sat in the back of a car with a rig, boot open, lights in the back, light hanging out the sunroof, and we just did it. It came together very quickly, but it's one of those shots that I'd storyboarded and planned it, and I really wanted it to look a certain way, and I'm actually still surprised it looked as good as it did. But I'm pretty happy with that one. That's something that I really strive to get in there. Post-production wise, it was a hectic schedule. We just shot. I had no sleep for 3 nights while we were shooting it. Pretty much had no sleep for weeks after while we were editing as well. What I had done was every night after we'd shot, the following day I'd go through everything we'd shot, make sure it would edit together reasonably well. There's nothing we had to go back and reshoot. So yeah, as I mentioned before, VFX. I'm not a massive sort of VFX guy, but we underestimated, I think, how much visual effects we'd have to do for the film, and ultimately that sort of took us more time in post-production than originally expected, but I think we actually did a fairly good job of pulling all that together. So for music, I mean, we are go-to guys, Adam, every time. We've worked with him for a little while now. He's, always up for a challenge, which is great. He's always willing to challenge himself and do things he's never done before. And we were pretty specific with what we wanted with the score, but at the same time we gave him enough freedom to put his mark on it. But we wanted a sort of a typical sort of 80s synthy kind of John Carpenter-ish score. We wanted some of those elements to it, but obviously for him to sort of do his own thing as well, sort of add that sort of experimental, sort of avant-garde approach to it as well.
I knew Dan from college about 10 years ago. He's obviously kept vague track of what I'm doing. He bought one of my albums about half a year ago, and he probably had this film in mind, so he heard it was synth based and must have thought that I'm kind of ideal for this project. So and he was after a John Carpenter-esque score, but probably a bit more modern, to kind of paraphrase him. And the process of making that has been so much fun. You can be so much more experimental with film, I've found, with texturally, sonically, than you can with a lot of music, a lot of standard music. And Dan's been super encouraging as to what I've done. I don't seem to have hit a bad note with what I've done so far. It was great to be approached with such consistent vision. And the the film's fairly simple, but with a great twist. And I think the score just reflects that. People have walked in and said it sounds like a kind of cult classic, which is good. And I've heard people say that you know what it is you're about to watch from the very first few scenes and notes. So that's great. Been really great working with such a strong director with such a strong vision. I think the film's come together really well.
Working with the production team has been really, really fun. When we're not trying to get a shot done, there's been a lot of fun involved from each and every person on set.
We got on with the work, but yeah, we still have fun. We broke, chatted and spat ideas around, so it was never like, read your lines, get on with it, Luke. We had fun with it.
It's been a lot of jokes, inside jokes. I know that for the production team it is their first major project. It's a big step for them, and it has been, and I've seen the struggles, but then I'm seeing the work that's coming from it, the sort of values from this project coming into a finished project, and the sort of satisfaction and happiness seeing in the production team is great to see and great to be a part of.
You can just see the fun everybody's had just being together, but the professionalism as well. You know, we're not talking low level stuff here. The production team have really stepped up.
It's been welcoming, a lot of fun, late nights, a lot of running, and yeah, just it's given me a chance to do what I love with people that also are doing what they love, so that's always a great thing.
I've just had the best experience ever. What can I say? I mean, it has been brilliant. I mean, the whole team have been super supportive. You know, for being such a nervous person in the situation, that was all taken away quite quickly. Just slid straight in there, and being around the team that have just been so welcoming and so kind and generous, and just a joy to be around. You know, it couldn't have gone any better.
Run was a tricky project to work on. It was ambitious. We kind of do have ideas above our station a little bit there, here and there, and it's kind of one of those things where we want to be putting out these amazing ideas, but it's still figuring out how to do them and how to get, you know, visually the images in our heads off, you know, out of our heads and on the screen, or you know, off the paper and onto the screen. In James's case, but it's sort of, you know, we try and push ourselves to make a better film every time, and I think if you look at our last film, Stranger, there's a big difference between Stranger and Run, and hopefully with the next one there'll be a big difference between Run and, you know, and that. So
what I hope for people to take away from Run is to be scared, obviously, to be shocked, to feel something. That's always a good thing, isn't it, in film? For the audience to react, we want a reaction out of them. That's why it is a horror. You want a good reaction from them, but also them to enjoy themselves and hopefully see all the hard work the production team has put into it.
Hopefully the audience will take away not to be like Tom, but also it's not about Tom, it's not about her, it's more how feelings and emotions get in the way and can spiral with different attitudes. Like, we flash back to show that there's always another part in your brain triggering how your emotional state is at a certain time, and it's not just we go through our lives, it's whatever's happened or whatever we feel has happened is dictating where we are.
Obviously everybody on the crew was great. The actors were great. Mari is a star. Luke is a top bloke. Everybody was great. Everybody was amazing. I want to sort of thank Dan for giving me the motivation to actually get off my arse and write something that I'm actually proud of. Michelle for just getting me off my arse in general, and I'd like to thank everybody who contributed on Indiegogo for giving us the chance of actually making this film.
Everybody worked their asses off. Everybody worked so ridiculously hard till 3, 4 in the morning. I probably asked way more of you guys than I should have. You know, it was tough, but I'm so glad everyone put in the effort and the time to actually make Run what it is. And it came together really, really beautifully. So I'm really, really happy with that. I can't thank them enough. I can't thank the guys enough. I work with a great crew. They make me look good. That's all I can really say, you know. We've
learnt a lot making Run. A lot of the lessons will carry forward through to future projects, which we are working on quite a few. I've enjoyed the whole experience so much, and I can't believe that something that started off as an idea here is now out there with you. So I hope you enjoyed the film. I hope you're looking forward to the future projects, and this isn't the last we'll be seeing of Suzanne.
My favourite moments from set, there's a few, and that's what I love about the process, that we have had a laugh.
My favourite part of working on the film was getting my makeup done by Beaseley. That was always fun.
My favourite part, I would have to say, is just seeing how everyone has got along, how everyone has pulled together, and just everybody's absolute desire to just make this happen.
My favourite moment from set has been... That was the second time I've done that. Better put that in twice.